Hi everybody, this is my Gibbons Chapter 1 screencast reflection. The chapter is titled Scaffolding Language and Learning. My name is Straub, and this is my little reflection PowerPoint that I created. To begin with, there was a little intro story about Jonathan Wallace's choir group that started in 2006. All the members in it were either homeless, had drug issues, some sort of negative thing going on in their life, and a lot of people were skeptical about the possible success of their group. A lot of people doubted Welch's group, but by 2007, more than 6,000 people attended their performance at the iconic Sydney Opera House. And by the end of the performance, they had a standing ovation. To make a connection this with teachers, Waltz saw all the choir members as people that they could become. So we as teachers need to do the same with our EL students and students with disabilities. With the right path of education, they can all become tremendously active and successful students in our classroom. Continue. The chapter kind of talks about the context of language. Quite simply, it just talks about the difference between your context of how you're using your language. For example, like if you're talking with a friend at a party versus interviewing for a job. When you're talking with a person at a party, you use a lot different language, more casual, not really thinking about it too much. While interviewing for a job, you're really using certain explicit language and abstract ways of talking to convey your points to your interviewer to make you look educated and smart and know what you're talking about. So the chapter continues with making language explicit and meaning making. It just kind of talks about how native speakers, or just for any language, how you start off talking about the process of like here and now, super simplified language, and then eventually when you become more naturalized with the language, you start using more explicit and abstract ways to refer to things and content. And this is the kind of difference between native speakers of English and EL students, of how native speakers have had this process their whole entire childhood. They had this process from even when they were 2 years old to throughout their whole education, while EL students have had this experience with their native language quite possibly, but not with English. And so they're kind of rushed into this situation, into schooling, and that's why a lot of them kind of fall back. It's just like, just shows the real possibilities of how they can easily fall back while having to learn a second language and the academic content in that specific language as well. A solution that they gave is that we need to have ongoing language development across the whole curriculum, that we as teachers are not simply content givers, that we are also demanded to give language development to our students as well. The next part of the chapter goes into the views of teaching, the empty vessel one, where teachers transmit skills and knowledge into quote-unquote empty minds of their students, and then the progressive model, where the learner is placed in the central of the education process, and education is a matter of inquiry and thought. And then the last one they give is the alternative model, Vygotsky's, I guess that's how you say it right here, social cultural theory, where the teachers and students are seen as active participants in a collaborative endeavor for their education. So it continues with like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to be with the student in the same academic endeavor towards educational success? The two things they give for advice or ways to do it is scaffolding, which is just like assistance the teacher can give to your students. Like, for example, if they have to write an essay, depending on the levels of their English learning level, giving them, so if they're really new to English, they can write the essay in their native language. And then if they're working on it, you can give them paragraphs that, like beginning sentences to each paragraph as they're writing it, to give them a process and a structure of how to write the essay. And then the last way they talk about having to do this kind of theory of education is high challenge and high support, giving your students high rigor, but also giving them the support, the scaffolding, the resources all the things that they need to be successful. And that's going to differ between each level of student. Some might need a lot of support, and some might not need as much support, and they're kind of very individualized and can do it themselves. It just depends on the type of student, but we all need to work together as shown in this. The teacher can be seen as kind of maybe the top person or maybe even the person in the middle, helping each student climb up the mountain and be successful students. So I know I've gone past 3 minutes. I'm into 5.5 minutes now, but this is my reflection of the whole chapter, and I hope you guys took away something good from it. Thank you very much, and have a good day.